Welcome to Sunlight Sessions, where we bring health and knowledge into the light. I'm your host, Raman, and today I'm honored to be joined by two incredible women in the world of natural health. Diane McLaurin, founder of Healthy You Naturally, has been guiding people on their wellness journey since 1994 and is the creator of the Body Well methodology, a holistic approach to restoring balance naturally. Alongside her is Linda Kennedy. Linda is a master herbalist, iridologist, and an alternative health practitioner with over 35 years experience. Together, Diane and Linda bring decades of wisdom, passion, and dedication to helping others live happier, healthier, and more balanced lives. Welcome, ladies. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
All right. We're going to dive right into today's conversation. We've all heard the phrase, I'm stressed out, and I actually said this morning. But many of us don't realize that stress isn't just a feeling, right? It's a whole body event. And for women in particular, I feel like stress can throw our hormones into chaos. It affects everything from our mood and energy to our sleep, our menstrual cycles, our fertility, and how we age. Oh, it's so great being a woman. And women's health is such a broad and an important topic, and we can easily spend days diving into detail. But for today's episode, we'll be keeping things short and focused, touching on just a few areas that really highlight the connection between stress, hormones, and overall well-being. So let's start with the basics. Linda, how does chronic stress hijack hormonal balance through the HPA axis?
The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis, which is easier to say, is a communication network that links your brain to your adrenal glands, and that is amazing when it's in balance. When it's out of balance, it can make us feel a lot of different symptoms we'll describe in a couple of minutes. The hypothalamus keeps your body in a balanced state with regard to body temperature, hunger, mood, and many other functions. It does this by directly influencing your autonomic nervous system and managing hormones. Located at the base of the brain, it detects stress, which I'm sure it's detecting a lot in some of us right now, and releases a hormone called CRH, which is transported to the pituitary. The pituitary is a small pea-shaped gland located at the base of the brain below your hypothalamus. It makes several essential hormones and regulates other endocrine glands. It's triggered by CRH and sends out ACTH to the adrenals. So you see how it's going from one to the other to the other. Adrenal glands are small triangular shaped glands on top of each of your kidneys. Their response to ACTH is releasing cortisol, the primary stress hormone. And it's had a lot of bad rap lately, cortisol, because we do actually need some in our body. As we can see, the HPA axis is a complex set of interactions that plays a critical role in regulating mood, digestion, immune function, and energy storage and expenditure in the body, and stress responses as well. The stress response aims to provide energy for an extended period of time using hormones to transmit signals. So there's actually two different stress responses, and we'll talk about the other one in just a moment. The stress hormone cortisol mobilizes glucose stored in the liver to provide a constant supply of energy for the body to deal with stressors. So when the body encounters a stressor, it triggers two responses. The first is immediate, and that's the response that happens in seconds, and it's the central sympathetic nervous system, which releases epinephrine and norepinephrine, causing immediate physical changes like increased heart rate. So basically, that's our fight or flight. So that happens first. The second response is a sustained response. It's usually about 10 seconds after that one, and it activates the HPA axis, providing a long-term stress response. To maintain homeostasis, your body's internal balance, the HPA axis uses a negative feedback loop. In other words, the released cortisol acts on the hypothalamus and the pituitary, signaling them to decrease the production of CRH and ACTH. This has to happen to prevent overstimulation and help your body return to a steady state after stress, but often it doesn't. Stressors like worry about family, work, even worry about what's causing your symptoms, and situations like ongoing poor sleep quality, frequent inadequate hydration, too much or too little physical activity, diet's low in nutrients, and the list goes on. And these stressors can affect female hormone balance too. The role of the HPA axis sounds great, but chronic stress or trauma can disrupt this. And this dysfunction affects how your body produces and regulates cortisol. And the common signs of that are symptoms that we can feel when there's a female hormonal imbalance too. Persistent fatigue, difficulty coping with stress, mood swings or irritability, trouble sleeping or concentrating, weakened immune system. As your levels of cortisol increase, your levels of your happiness agents decrease. Those are like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and that further creates stress in our body. When this process goes on and on, the adrenal glands reach the state of exhaustion. Once this is reached, the ability to keep in balance other hormones, such as estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, is significantly reduced. And what is one of the most typical reasons for this kind of imbalance? Believe it or not, it's menopause. During menopause, when estrogen levels reduce, this can lead to difficulty recalling events, difficulty with concentration and attention, and more. According to Dr. Lamb, these symptoms are also the result of adrenal fatigue. So we can see why balancing the adrenals and the female hormones is really important. They go hand in hand. And if both are out of balance, any symptoms we're having is more extreme. So the HPA axis is more than just a stress switch. It's central to your health. When it's working well, you feel energized, calm, focused, and we all want that. When it's not, everyday challenges can feel overwhelming. But by understanding and supporting this system, you can build resilience and improve both mental and physical well-being.
All right, that was very helpful. That really helps us understand the importance of balance in our body. I know we all need stress to certain amounts, but chronic stress, as you said, hijacks our body, hijacks our adrenals, hijacks our hormones. Diane, I would love your take on something that I hear a lot. People say the body steals from progesterone to make cortisol. What does that actually mean, and how does it affect women's health?
Great question. So when people say the body steals from the progesterone to make cortisol, first we have to understand that the cortisol is our body's main stress hormone. And then the progesterone is one of our key reproductive hormone. And both of them come from the same raw material, the same source. They have the same parent hormone, if I can say, the progesterone. So what's happening is think of it like a fork in the road. One path will make cortisol, and the other path will make progesterone. So if we look at the roles of cortisol, well, it's made in the adrenal glands. It helps us to respond to stress. It helps us to run from danger, or even just to get through the demands and the busyness of daily life. Progesterone, on the other hand, is more about reproduction. It's more about balancing the estrogen. It will be calming and nourishing to the nervous system. So here is the catch, though. When the stress is high, or even a constant low-level stress that we often live with, and often we don't even realize it, the body will always prioritize cortisol. And there's no way about it. The body will choose that. And why is that? It's because to the body, when we're stressed, it means danger. And danger, it means that survival will always come first. So that has been a response we have had since we have been human. So the survival is always first, even before, the long-term reproduction and sex functions. So survival is always first. So under stress, more of that shared resource will be directed to the cortisol, leaving less for the progesterone. So what's happening is, another way to look at it is, I don't really see it as a theft or stealing. It's more a way that the body is protecting us. And the way it will impact women's health, since the progesterone is one of our most important balancing hormone. Example, it will regulate your cycles, it will help to support fertility, it will keep your estrogen in check, it will calm your nervous system. So when stress is present and the cortisol is running the show, and this is when women will notice things like, heavier or irregular cycles, more cramping. They have fertility struggles. They will have PMS. They will have anxiety. They will have sleep troubles. They will have weight gain even in the middle. In addition, because the progesterone naturally declined when you are in your 40s and 50s, stress can really amplify those imbalances. So often what will happen is we notice those changes even more strongly at that time. So while the phrase stealing from progesterone is a simplification, the reality is that the stress response gets the first pick at the resources and the progesterone is left behind. So if the stress is not managed or the adrenal are not supported, then the progesterone can get chronically low. And then the good news though, balance can be restored. This is when supporting adrenals, managing our stress, nourishing our body, will help to redirect the resources back toward the progesterone. And then it will bring the whole system closer to harmony and balance. And I love our adrenal support because of the adaptogenic herbs. And just briefly, whether you get your minerals, your enzymes, it will nourish your adrenals, and it will support a healthy balance of the stress hormones. It will not overstimulate, it will gently strengthen and nourish. And when you add balanced cortisol, then you have a steadier energy and a better stress response.
That is such a great explanation, Diane. And it really shows how stress can ripple into so many areas of women's health. Now I understand. The more cortisol you have, the lower progesterone you get. And that will show up as irregular cycles, fertility issues, PMS, poor sleep. It's just, the list just goes on. Menopausal symptoms. So it's basically the body is trying to prioritize survival over balance. And that was such a great explanation. I understood it. Thank you for that. Linda, we're also hearing more about the brain's role in all this. Can you share what the new science is saying about neuroinflammation and how it ties into hormonal balance?
Okay, I will try because there's so much information about it. Because inflammation in the brain contributes to several neurological and psychiatric diseases, the cause of neuroinflammation is being widely studied. Neuroinflammation is inflammation of the nervous tissue that can be caused by infection, traumatic brain injury, concussions, toxins which can provoke a toxic chemical buildup in the brain, autoimmunity too. The immune system's response against its own healthy cells and tissues can really promote inflammation in the brain. And even if folate is low, we can have issues with brain inflammation. So we just want to keep everything balanced. Even imbalanced hormones will have an effect on the brain and vice versa. Neuroinflammation can contribute to premature aging, our biological age of our organs and glands. And premature aging increases the risk of hormone imbalance, which contributes to further inflammation. So it's that vicious cycle. But we can change it. Chronic stress is a significant factor in anything, ultimately leading to the development of inflammatory states within the central nervous system, which is the brain's vital cord and even the retina. Inflammatory stimuli may also lead to activation of the HPA axis, which is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal. According to Dr. Lin, when a threat is chronic, whether it's stress from work or finances, the body's stress response becomes chronic. So over time, long-term stress can contribute to persistent or ongoing inflammation. So if there's stress, no matter what we take to reduce inflammation, we have to do something about the stress and inflammation in the brain itself too. Neuroinflammation is widely regarded as chronic. It's not an acute thing, it's chronic, ongoing inflammation of the central nervous system, as it's typically associated with neurogenetic diseases such as Parkinson's, MS, Alzheimer's. So what can contribute to this neuroinflammation? Even our own body will. Toxic metabolites, which are harmful byproducts that result from the metabolic processing of various substances in the body. So that can contribute to it. Viruses, spinal cord injury, of course, but even air pollution and secondhand smoke have been found to contribute to this. And imbalanced metabolism seems to be one result of the stress we experience daily. And this leads to increased inability to resolve any inflammation. Again, it goes back to if our body isn't balanced, we're not going to be able to improve things. It's no surprise that one of the most common signs of neuroinflammation or brain inflammation is anxiety. Changes in cortisol can alter neurotransmitter levels and trigger feelings of anxiety, depression, irritability, and unease. When cortisol is elevated for long periods of chronic stress, it can disrupt the balance of neurons in the brain. We don't want that happening. And that can contribute to short-term memory loss, struggling to get the right word, brain fog. I always tell my clients, the more tired the adrenal, the more wired the brain. So you've got this discrepancy here, and we want to bring that back together to have that balance. Becomes too much effort during the day to accomplish activities, and the brain is too wired at night, even though the body is exhausted, to have the proper restorative sleep. The relationship between hormones and neurological health is an important area of research. So they're constantly researching this. Addressing hormonal imbalances can have a significant impact on neurological health. Understanding this connection is vital. By restoring hormonal balance, individuals might experience, and this is so awesome, as that hormonal balance is restored, we can feel improved emotions and reduced anxiety, enhanced mental work. We're able to think more clearly and really resolve things, reduced risk of neural disorders, because we don't want any of those occurring. But the last one is the most exciting, improved quality of life.
Which we all want.
Yeah.
That is really interesting, Linda, because I don't think most of us realize that stress can affect the brain that way and to that capacity, but it also shows us that everything in our system is interconnected and we
Absolutely.
need balance. Women go through such big hormonal shifts at every stage, right? From puberty and PMS to pregnancy, and then we got perimenopause, and then we got menopause. Diane, can you walk us through some of those transitions and maybe weigh in whether cycle syncing really works?
Yes, that's a great question. So when we look at women's hormones across a lifetime, there's a lot of big shifts, in all those hormones, like you mentioned, from puberty all the way to menopause and beyond. So first of all, it's important to remember that each stage is a normal part of life. It is not a disease, even if often for many, it might feel like a disease when the body is out of balance. And we think it's normal and we don't know what to do about it. So I'm glad that you're listening today. So I always tell clients, when we have symptoms, it's like a red light on the dash of your car. It is a signal. Your body is talking to you. It's a way the body is telling you the imbalances in your body. Hey, pay attention. I need you here. So here is something also that clients will often ask me, and they'll say, why some people breeze through those stages, barely have any symptoms, while others struggle? It's like total misery. And I say it doesn't have to be that way. With the proper support, those stages can actually feel like a celebration of being a woman. And often they look at me a little bit funny. And listen, okay?
Yeah, I'm looking at you funny too. Just kidding.
Well, there are ways, okay? So let's walk through the key stages together. Let's start with puberty. So this is when our hormones wake up and the cycles begin. Usually the onset will be around 11 to 14 years old. The average first period will be around 12, and it will last about 4 to 6 years. So the first signs will be breast development, pubic hair, all the way to full reproductive maturity. For some teens, that transition is smooth, and then for others, they will have acne, bad cramping, heavy cycles, mood swings. It's not a funny story at all. And then I just want to share with you one striking example. In Puerto Rico in the 70s and 80s, children as young as 8 years old, they showed premature puberty symptoms, even breast development. And that was traced back to hormones in food. When these foods were removed, most symptoms regressed. So it shows how sensitive our hormones are to our environment.
Very
Now,
true.
I would like to go to the next stage, the reproductive years. So this is a time of regular cycles, fertility, and pregnancy. Ideally, okay, the cycle should be about 27 to 30 days. That means from the first day of the period to the first day of the next period. That should be 27 to 30 days. I know we say 28, but nothing is like clockwork all the time. So a 27 to 30 days will be okay. And the bleeding part should be about 3 to 4 days bleeding, ideally. And it should be almost a no event. And it's normal to change our pad or tampon every 2 to 3 hours on heavier days. So as women, when we have our periods, it's a way to eliminate toxins from the body. It's the way of clearing and renewing. When there's a lot of stress, when there's poor gut health, when there's a lot of toxins, hormone imbalances, then the cycles will be very different than what I just said in the ideally. It will be heavier. It will be irregular. The symptoms will be more pronounced. There'll be a lot of PMS. When the body is balanced, though, these years can feel very strong, very steady. So it's possible. In the next stage, what I call stage 3, is perimenopause. And that began in the mid to late 40s, and it lasts about 4 to 8 years, sometimes longer. And that's probably the most confusing stage because the hormones fluctuate quite a bit. Like it's wild, you know. I said they go for.
I've heard, yes.
Yes. So the cycles often will become irregular. There will be changes in the energy, in mood, in hot flashes, in sleep, in brain fog. Everything will creep in at the same time. So if the adrenals are under stress, the shifts can be even more intense. The symptoms will be more pronounced. Then we go to the next stage, menopause. Did you know that technically menopause is 1 day? It is 12 months that you have no period. And then you post-menopause. At the time of menopause, what's happening is the ovaries step back and the adrenals take over part of the functions. Now, we have been talking about adrenals in each of the questions. I'm telling you, they do everything all the time. No wonder they get tired, you know. So they will take over at the time of menopause, at that transition. So if the adrenals are healthy, the transition will be smoother. But if the adrenals are not healthy, then the hot flashes, the night sweats, the sleep, the exhaustion, all that will be amplified. And then we go to the next stage, which is postmenopause. And I like to call that the freedom years. And these can be vibrant, energetic years. When the body is supported, people often find a new stability. Many will find new passions, creativity. I see it as a new chapter, not the end. Now, you talked about cycle syncing. And that simply aligning the lifestyle, like exercise, food, work, social commitments, with the 4 phases of internal cycles. So in phase 1, when we menstruate, when we bleed, the estrogen and the progesterone hormones are low. That means that what will happen is our energy will be lower. Then you add the bleeding to that, the energy can even be lower than that. The body will want more rest, and we want just to do gentle movement in our exercise. And for food, we might want more soups and stews and iron-rich foods like lentils and green leafy vegetables. In phase 2, which is called follicular, that's from the end of the period to ovulation. The estrogen will be rising, Our energy, our creativity will be better. We want energizing food like sprouted grains, fish, colorful vegetables, and often we want to do new things, and strength training will be easier at that time. In phase 3, the ovulation, that's day 12 to 14, the energy will peak. We feel more social and outgoing. We might be able to do high intensity workout, and we want anti-inflammatory foods like berries and cruciferous vegetables. In the luteal phase, after the ovulation until the period, the progesterone will rise. And then we feel more reflective. We feel extra rest. We want steady routines, and we need more magnesium foods, pumpkin seeds, quinoa, dark chocolate, because it helps cravings and calm the nerves. So does it work? The principle is absolutely valid. Hormones truly change our physiology through the whole month. We don't want those rigid rules. We want awareness. And the better our body is balanced from the gut to sleep, to nervous system, to hormonal balance, less dramatic those changes between the phases. And this is where I love my herbs. Okay, they make a big difference. So what we have to remember, hormones will always change from puberty to freedom years. The symptoms are simply signals, not punishments, and they will support the body, so there will be less struggle, and we can celebrate of being a woman.
Yes, we can. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you, Diane. That's such a helpful overview of the big picture. It is true, every phase in our cycle is different and we need to listen to our bodies, basically, is what I gathered from here. So, and cell syncing. I've also heard of like seed cycling also works during different phases of our period. And I totally agree with you that everything needs to be balanced. Listen to your bodies. It's not punishing you, it's just helping you. Thank you. That was awesome. And last and burning question of the day, along with cycle syncing, there are also natural approaches. I know Diane said her favorite herb is adrenal support. But adaptogens are also a hot topic right now. So herbs like ashwagandha, maca, rhodiola, how can these herbal allies support stress and resilience and hormonal balance? I'll let Linda go first, and then Diane can go after. And then if you guys can share that one NSP product that women should be taking.
I absolutely love adaptogens because everything that's being discussed today can be supported and balanced. And one of my clients uses the word fixed by taking adaptogenic herbs. They are amazing. They're all about calmness, resilience, hormonal balance, and that's just not just female hormones, but the whole endocrine hormone balance. Absolutely love them. They have a modulating effect on the body. That means they're constantly helping the body to balance things. In fact, reading about cordyceps and the studies they've done with it from 1993, the extensive studies, they talk about the fact that because of its ability to help the body balance itself, it could be taken daily forever. So that's a wonderful thing. And resilience, I love that word, resilience. The studies they've done with, again, it's cordyceps, sorry, but just for a second, are to do with physical resilience. But what I've discovered is in working with clients and even myself, the emotional resilience is balanced and instilled back into our stressful body. It really helps because the stress is being reduced and those happy agents are coming back to the level they should be at. And then our adrenals, because they're not so tired, because they're being supported, then it brings down that wired brain. People can take nervine herbs till they're blue in the face, but if they don't look after the adrenals, you'll only get so far. And so sleep quality is an amazing one, especially with ashwagandha. It is being studied extensively with regard to cortisol levels, sleep quality, and there's a thing that is called non-restorative sleep, and ashwagandha seems to have an amazing effect on that. It also has been studied with regard to T3, T4 production, so it's helping balance the thyroid, which is always affected when the adrenals are out of balance too, because they're very supportive of each other. But it's just a wonderful herb because it's an immunomodulator too. Balances the immune system. In any literature about immunomodulators, they suggest that people who have autoimmune diseases can take these herbs because they are balancing. So, I mean, the word is balance. In our life, we want balance, whatever it is, balancing our checkbook, balancing our health. It's all about balance. And maca is another one that's really interesting. And these are all adaptogenic herbs. It's anti-aging, which is kind of a nice thing. That's the biological age. It's very nutritive. These herbs are very nutritive. It also has the ability to help the body produce major antioxidant glutathione. It's got a high amount of calcium and phosphorus, so it's considered great for bone health, which is an issue sometimes, with menopause and so forth. If you're under chronic stress or suffer from anxiety, the adaptogenic effects of maca can reduce some of that load. Maca helps tone the HPA axis too. So all of these, in what they're doing and how they work, they help to tone or balance the HPA axis. It's just an automatic positive side benefit of that's all, which is wonderful. I absolutely love it. Maca is also high in fibers, such as cellulose and lignans, which improves health because the fiber is great for the tummy and the bowels and that. But it also can reduce hunger between meals. So I'm going back and forth between ashwagandha and maca here, and now even cordyceps again.
Okay,
I
perfect.
really have to give a shout out to my immune defense. I love that product. I know we were talking about immune there. Again, it's immunomodulating, but I have seen it improve cognition, sense of well-being, energy. It is just a wonderful powder. So some people are not so interested in taking a powder, but I'll tell you, when they start to feel the way they do with it, they are so excited. So something like my immune defense can be added to maca. You can use that with maca. You can use it with ashwagandha, cordyceps, any of the immunomodulating and adaptogenic herbs. I could go on and on about a whole bunch of herbs. I love them all. They work, and it's because of the quality of nature's sunshine. Because they have to should be able to prevent negative changes caused by stress. They should be able to they should be beneficial, and they should be safe. And all of these are the nature's sunshine products are amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. Diane?
Yes. So let me talk about rhodiola. It's also known as the golden root. It will help the body to adapt to physical and mental stress. And modern research shows that it helps with focus, it reduces the fatigue, it helps with the energy, and it supports healthy moods. So it will work very gently on the adrenals because, as we know, the adrenals are the key. And when the adrenals are calmer and the stress hormone cortisol is better balanced, then the body will be better balanced. It has a ripple effect on our whole body, but we will feel steadier energy, less burnout, and better feel of well-being if you want to. Holy basil is also called tulsi, and it's referred to as the queen of herbs in Ayurvedic. And modern science really validate that reputation because it helps to regulate cortisol. It supports the nervous system. It is calming the stress response and support again the whole hormonal system, the whole glandular system. And the studies also suggest that it will help with blood sugar regulation. And that's important because the blood sugar will try to cortisol and will try to the reproductive hormonal system. So women notice less anxiousness, steadier moods, and even better sleep. So the adaptogen, they teach the body to adapt. They help the body to respond to stress. They don't force, they just support it that the body can actually, go with the flow if we want to, or feel better. So it works both ways. It will calm when we're stressed, and it will energize when we're depleted. So that's why I really love them as well. Linda loves her adaptogen, and I love them, and everybody should love them. So it's valuable women at all stages, that we navigate all those hormonal shifts, because it will help to balance. If I'm thinking it was so hard to choose one product to recommend for women, okay, and I chose Women's Formula as one of my favorites. And as the name implies, it helps support women regarding all the natural hormonal transitions from teen to womanhood to perimenopause and beyond. And I love this formula. I love when it's not a single herb, when it's synergist formula, because it blends 8 traditional herbs to support the reproductive, the glandular, the hormonal, but it's also very helpful for the nervous and digestion and circulation, and all of that is connected to hormonal balance. It will gently support balance and work with the body instead of just covering symptoms. I like to call it a whole body nourishment for women at any stage.
Thank you so much, Diane, Linda, for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your experience with us today. We've learned so much. I think that what can disrupt our hormones in so many ways. There are natural tools, solutions, and knowledge that can help us find balance again. It is about the light at the end of the tunnel. It is supposed to be your body is not punishing you. It is just the way our body is. And that's what Sunlight Session is all about. It's about bringing light to conversations that matter to our health and well-being. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and let today's episode session be a reminder to bring a little more sunlight into your wellness journey. Thank you, and till we meet again.